So it's incredible because so many people are unaware that, our life experience is really affecting us today. And even those people that do, maybe went through big T trauma, some big nasty experience growing up, or many of them, a lot of people can recognize and appreciate that type of experience, but things can be even smaller. They don't even have to be that big that you think back, oh, well, I had some terrible life or I had some terrible experience. But we end up associating different beliefs when it comes to money, when it comes to investing, when it comes to taking risk, when it comes to being able to provide for our family, and we end up creating these associations. And so what I've found is that so many people are so focused on certainty and security, and they're wanting to create that for their family. They're wanting to create that for themselves. And so people oftentimes will stay in the exact same place that they're in, even if it's a place they don't like, because they're unsure about what might be around the corner. They're unsure that that better vision of a life that they want to live, they're unsure that they can get there, and they're unsure if they might experience some pain along the way. So Dr. Don, if somebody is in that place and they know right now they're living a pretty good life, but they know it can be better. They know that if they started investing, if they started changing their relationship to money, if they started changing the way that they look at going out and learning new things, that they could experience what they really hope for, but actually hold themselves back from. If they're in that place, what are some things that they could do to start identifying and start building that belief pathway to start getting closer to that place where they want to be?
That's a great question. So a lot of the times, the number one fear that people don't understand for the human mind is uncertainty. It does not like uncertainty. And that's why you get into habits, behaviors, and beliefs, because the beliefs and habits and behaviors create certainty. If I keep doing the same thing over and over, I know I can do that, right? So I always say, if somebody walks 2 miles every day to get food, but every day on that trip, they have to navigate snipers and landmines, but every day they get there and back. And then somebody goes, why are you doing that? There's like a Safeway down the road that way, about 100 yards. It's really safe. There's police everywhere, lights. They don't know that to be true. And so they're not going to want to make that change because they know they can do the other one. So they'll stay on that pattern. And people will say, well, they're sabotaging themselves. And I say, it's impossible. The mind can't sabotage itself. It's survival based. It believes that we can do this and keep us safe. It doesn't know it can go that 100 yards down that road. So the way you have to do it is you have to allow small changes and so think of repetition as research. So I'm going to walk 5 yards down that road today and come home. And then I'm going to go down 10 yards and I'm going to come home. And I'm going to go 20 yards. I'm going to come home. I'm not going to try to hit my goal instantly because the mind won't go there. It'll try to get you to go in another direction, not because it's trying to hurt you, because it's trying to protect you. So what I say is the best way to start to learn how to overcome those things is to make small changes, inconsequential changes, so that your mind starts getting used to change. So here's a simple way. You drive to work the same way every day. Find 3 different ways to drive to work. No real big threat, but it makes your mind have to now think about another change. But the change isn't really dire or stressful. It's pretty easy. Brush your teeth with your left hand, right? Open doors with the opposite hand. Start making small changes that your mind then starts to adjust to change. And then when you start making some more changes in your financial decisions and things like that, the mind's gotten used to change. And it's a very simple and effective way to do it.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. You're essentially giving your mind an opportunity to change in an environment that's not life or death, that isn't challenging your biggest, scariest beliefs, but you're creating that habit, that ability for you to feel a little bit more comfortable doing something different. When we get stuck in this place of needing 100% certainty, that's typically we're living in a place of fear. And it's very common right now. And it's been very common for the last 2 or 3 years. This is why we're dealing with the highest rate of suicide and drug overdose that we've ever seen in history, is because people are living in so much fear. So it's absolutely critical, not only for our ability to invest, not only for our ability to head into whatever kind of economic winter we're in or heading into, but also for our ability to live and enjoy our lives. And so when we can start to build that habit of being more comfortable with change, being more comfortable having a little bit of uncertainty in our environment, and creating that so that it's from a place where we're comfortable, we're creating that, we're doing that in small ways, then we can actually start layering on and doing bigger things. We can start to get educated on investing. We can start getting educated on making money. And then we can start to get in community, whether that's a digital community, like listening to, an episode like you're listening to now, or whether that is getting into a physical community of other people who are on this same path towards financial independence, who are looking to change the way that they think about money, who are looking to change the relationship to the life that they're living so that they can actually start taking advantage of the opportunities that are there. And it's once you're surrounded by people and you start seeing that it's possible, it starts getting a little bit less scary. And then when you follow what Dr. Don is talking about creating those small micro experiences and layering it in, then you gain that strength and you can take on bigger of those challenges or fears that you have.
Exactly. So one of the things I did, so I'll give you an example in terms of relationships. I worked with a guy who was a veteran, and he said he's just petrified to talk to women. He said, I just can't talk to women. I don't know what it is. He says, my heart will be pounding in my chest. I sound so nervous. I just scare everybody. And so I said, here's what I want you to do. I said, I want you to develop a series of inconsequential conversations. And here's what I mean by that. If you go to the supermarket, right, I want you to be able to have the ability. And I says, this is not for an intent to try to date somebody. This is just to start talking. I said, go up to maybe even the store clerk and say, what aisle is the orange juice in? I can't find the orange juice. You start having these conversations that are inconsequential. They're not going to feel afraid. They're going to probably engage with you, even if it's a lady who's an older lady, right? And you ask her for some directions in the store about something. You're starting to get your mind saying, well, these aren't lions that we're walking up to, right? These are, and they turned out to be pretty nice. They engaged with me and helped me, right? They're building up that mindset that it's safe to talk to women. And but if they start to try to go too quick and go say, well, I see a really attractive woman, I'm going to try to go up and start a conversation with her because I think I'd like to see who she is, that would make that fear too much. So you've got to do it in a way that doesn't threaten. And then eventually, so I talked to him about 2 months later, and he said, I've had a whole series of inconsequential conversations. And he says, and I'm dating a new girl now. But it allowed him to develop that strength that he needed. He just couldn't get there on his own. He had to develop it.
It's so critical too, because I want to underline a lot of the things that I often talk about when it comes to becoming an investor and thinking like an investor and taking on these things, even things that are as simple as naming your number and setting that target passive income that you're going to work from. And some of these processes that we work through, people think to themselves, hey, Stephen, this is basic. I understand this. I've heard of this before. I'm looking for something that's big. I'm looking for some big change. The truth is, even what you're underlining here, Dr. Don, is that the small things are what lead to the big changes. It's the little simple things that we need to do. We need to go out there and we need to read an investment summary. We need to go read 10 more of them. We need to not invest in that deal until we've read through a couple of them and we ask some questions. We need to talk to somebody who's invested. We need to start building that experience so that we're a little bit more comfortable. So when we make that first investment, we're not investing our whole multi-million-dollar retirement. We're making $150,000 or $100,000 investment, and we're experiencing that. And we're knowing that it's not life or death. I have an opportunity to grow here. I have an opportunity to experience something different. And I start looking around and gaining all of these new experiences, both my own, but also other people's. And I recognize that when somebody had a bad experience, well, what happened to them? Why did that happen? How could I avoid that while still taking advantage of things? And we can start building that experience, because a lot of people are stuck believing the only way to retire is to get a gold watch or to invest in the stock market. And the truth is that's the slowest path and probably the most uncertain path. And when you start following some of the strategies that we talk about, you can get there a lot faster.
Thank you for listening to the Investor Mindset Podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share with a friend. Head over to theinvestormindset.com to join the Insider Club, where we share tools and strategies from the top investors and entrepreneurs on how to take it to the next level.